shocking that Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen are in such a severe recession. Increasingly severe, China's economy faces major challenges. Xi Jinping's dream is shattered. It's hard to save it with huge investment. This is the Fourth Ring Road in Beijing at 7 o'clock in the evening. In my memory, I have never seen such smooth traffic flow on the North Fourth Ring Road during rush hour. Anyway, except for SARS and the epidemic, I have never seen it since I came to Beijing. Such a big depression is rare. If you tell me the real situation in Shanghai now, you might not believe it. Many big companies are cutting salaries and laying off employees. Many small companies are struggling to survive on the verge of losses and bankruptcy, and many can no longer pay wages. In the past, the mall was packed with people on weekends, and now it's deserted, as if it's about to close. I tell you the current real situation in Shenzhen, which may seem unbelievable. Large companies are constantly laying off employees, small companies are closing down, and the houses are unrented. What is surprising is that Shenzhen's finances are also facing problems. There are two major signals. First, many places in Shenzhen have reduced district-level expenditures this year. Second, Shanghai's foreign trade has stalled. In the first 4 months of this year, Shanghai lost its position as the #1 foreign trade city after 9 consecutive years. When two super cities send out strange signals, it means that we don't have much room for redundancy. China's economy is in a slump, and the Beijing authorities have finally lost their composure. The political bureau of the CPC Central Committee held an emergency meeting and stopped promoting the bright prospects of China's economy, rarely admitting that there are problems in the economy. Rich people are fleeing in a low-key manner, and there is a trend of going abroad in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. The life of ordinary people is becoming increasingly difficult, increasingly severe. China's economy faces major challenges. Ming Zhuzheng, professor emeritus of the Department of Political Science at National Taiwan University, recently said on the YouTube program, Political and Economic Frontline, that in addition to domestic economic problems, China is also facing increasing pressure from the international environment. Among them, the Sino-US trade war has had a huge impact on China's export-oriented economy. Since the outbreak of the trade war in 2018, the United States has imposed tariffs on many types of Chinese products, greatly compressing the market share of Chinese companies overseas. This has not only led to a decline in China's exports, but also prompted some manufacturing companies to transfer production to lower-cost countries such as Vietnam and India, further weakening China's global supply chain position. At the same time, the technological competition between China and the United States has also brought huge challenges to the Chinese economy. The United States has blocked China's access to high-tech products such as advanced semiconductors and communication technologies through a series of restrictive measures. This technological blockade has greatly restricted China's technological progress in areas such as 5G, artificial intelligence, and chip manufacturing, causing related companies to suffer unprecedented pressure and development bottlenecks. Not only the United States, but European countries are also becoming increasingly cautious about China. Although economic ties between the EU and China occupy an important position in the process of globalization, in recent years, Europe has raised more questions about China's policies on market access and technology protection. Chinese companies have entered the global market with a low-price competition strategy, which has brought a great impact on European small and medium-sized enterprises, prompting the EU to increase its scrutiny of Chinese imports and gradually adopt more restrictive measures. In addition, the withdrawal of foreign capital is also a major test facing the Chinese economy. In recent years, more and more multinational companies have chosen to transfer production lines from China to other regions, which has not only weakened China's traditional advantages as the world factory, but also caused China to lose a lot of foreign exchange income and employment opportunities. In particular, A series of laws and regulations involving national security issued by China, such as the counterespionage law and the data security law, have further triggered a crisis of confidence in the Chinese market environment for foreign-funded enterprises. Although these measures are aimed at strengthening national security protection, they have also caused more doubts from the outside world about the openness of the Chinese economy. Xi Jinping's dream is shattered. It's hard to save it with huge investment. U.S. media revealed that China is working hard to cope with the U.S. chip ban, trying to achieve semiconductor self-sufficiency, and spending $96.3 billion to support the industry. But key semiconductor equipment issues cannot be solved by just investing money. China faces great difficulties in breaking through the technological ceiling. CNBC reported that since the United States implemented a strict export ban in October 2022, the Dutch government has also banned semiconductor equipment giant ASML from exporting advanced equipment to China. In order to cope with the restrictions, China has spent a lot of money to support the semiconductor industry and tried to break through the chip ban imposed by the United States and its allies. Since semiconductor equipment is key to China's promotion of the localization of the chip industry, CNBC estimates that the scale of China's 3 major national funds to support the semiconductor industry is as high as $96.3 billion. Last week, China announced that its latest exposure machine can support 65 nanometer resolution, referring to a process node of about 65 nanometers, which is an improvement over the 90 nanometers developed in 2022, but it is still far behind ASML's advanced exposure machine. Leping Huang, managing director of Huatai Securities, said that going from the current 65 nanometers to ASML's latest deep ultraviolet exposure machine requires major technological breakthroughs. In addition, ASML is still selling unregulated products to China. In the second quarter of this year, ASML's sales revenue to Chinese customers almost doubled from 17% in the fourth quarter of 2022 to 49%. John Lee of East West Futures, a consulting firm based in Singapore, bluntly stated that this growth shows that the Chinese industry believes they have no viable local alternatives yet. Paul Triolo, partner and senior vice president for China at the US-based DGA Group, pointed out that it would be a daunting task for any Chinese company to recreate the advanced exposure machine equipment that ASML has spent decades developing and commercializing. He bluntly stated that no matter what equipment Chinese companies produce, it is unlikely to fully replicate ASML's achievements, and the technical level cannot be matched. Camille Boulinois, deputy director of the US-based Rhodium Group, also said that in the field of electric vehicles, China's subsidies have stimulated demand and created a large and protected market for domestic companies to expand rapidly. But in the complex chip industry, breaking through the technological ceiling is much more difficult. Foreign media believe that key semiconductor equipment issues cannot be solved by investing money, and it is difficult for China to break through the technological ceiling. China's local economy is collapsing. Fuyang City in Hangzhou has collapsed and been taken over.
China's local economy is collapsing. The finances of Hangzhou's Fuyang City have collapsed and been taken over. Recently, it was reported that the finances of Fuyang City, Hangzhou, Zhejiang Province, collapsed, and it is now under the trusteeship of Hangzhou. China's economy continues to decline. Yunnan Province also announced that all civil servants' salaries in the province will be suspended. The ex-account Daniel Fang posted a message today, 26, stating that Hangzhou's economy is terrible. Daniel Fang shared an article from a Chinese netizen mentioning that 5 years ago, the rent for the EFC office at the Chuangjing Road subway entrance in Hangzhou was 2.8 yuan per square meter per day, while today, the rent at the Oak Center in the same location is 1.2 yuan. This office is part of Hangzhou's second iconic CBD in Future Science and Technology City, close to Alibaba. As for other offices, especially in large parks, many are being offered rent-free because landlords can save on business fees by renting them out. Many new companies lack offices, and numerous companies have either closed down or reduced their office space. The netizen noted that half of his office floor has been vacant for 6 months. His office is located in Hangzhou, 100 meters from Yongfu subway station and 350 meters from Ali Shiqi Park. The fact that such a prime location has remained vacant for half a year shows how bad the economy is. The netizen claimed that to cut costs, he considered laying off employees. Ultimately, on Monday, he laid off 15 staff from the live broadcasting department, 6 from marketing, and retained only 1 employee for design and customer service. He lamented that the current economic situation is dire. Daniel Fang also mentioned that various regions of China have begun laying off investment promotion offices. He speculated that this could be because there is no money to support these offices or no one is being attracted to them. He believes this is a sign that China's era of economic prosperity is gone forever. Additionally, a fiscal expenditure and income chart from Grongwei shows that from January to July, most regions in China are facing fiscal gaps, further highlighting the worsening economic situation. Shanghai distributes 500 million yuan in coupons. Netizens say China's economy is beyond saving. With the National Day holiday approaching, the Shanghai municipal government announced it will issue consumer vouchers worth 500 million RMB, about 71.22 million USD, starting Saturday, September 28th, to stimulate the service industry. However, Shanghai citizens do not seem to appreciate it, as the vouchers come with restrictions such as full amount discount and first come, first served. Many netizens believe the government is not being sincere. Scholars argue that Shanghai's consumer vouchers are akin to discount vouchers. They are not universally issued and have set consumption thresholds, so their benefits may be limited. China's economy is weak, and people are generally downgrading their consumption, even in first-tier cities. On Wednesday, September 25th, the Shanghai municipal government announced it will invest 500 million RMB in municipal funds to issue Happy Shanghai consumer vouchers to 4 major service sectors: 3.6 trillion RMB for the catering industry, 90 million RMB for the accommodation industry, 30 million RMB for the film industry, and 20 million RMB for sports activities. The first batch of vouchers will be available starting this Saturday. However, there are thresholds for using the vouchers, such as 50 yuan off for dining purchases of 300 yuan or more, and 300 yuan off for accommodation purchases of 1,200 yuan or more, resembling department store anniversary discounts. According to official media, Liberation Daily, on September 26th, these vouchers will be issued in 2 phases on a first-come, first-served basis through 4 different payment and ticketing platforms. The Taobaoization of consumption vouchers has sparked public outcry in Shanghai. Shanghai citizens are not optimistic about this measure. Ms. Yang, a Shanghai resident who wished to remain anonymous, criticized the Shanghai municipal government in an interview with Voice of America, stating, "Taobao has been used too much and has begun to reflect reality. It is too funny. There is no sincerity at all, and it is impossible to promote consumption." She also expressed concern that the Shanghai municipal government might use taxpayers' money to frivolously subsidize businesses in disguise. Chinese social media platform Weibo also reflected doubts. Shanghai netizen Happy Miracle 09 criticized the government for saying, "If you're reluctant to issue it, then don't. You want to stimulate people's consumption, but are unwilling to release it." Another Shanghai netizen, Kids Mom Dad, complained that cash is more useful than consumption coupons, writing, "Give out money. Brother, you always want to get the biggest return with the least expenditure. You're being foolish." A third Shanghai netizen, Wando Duodo, questioned the goodwill of the Shanghai municipal government, asking, "Why are they always secretive about issuing them, announcing subsidies without telling you where to get them?" Even people from other provinces and cities criticized the Shanghai municipal government's so-called people-friendly policies. A Weibo user named Hey Curry Guy San from Guangdong wrote, "The local government, Shanghai, did it on its own. They wanted to stimulate consumption but didn't have much money, fearing they would offend other regions and the central government. A Shanghai resident noted, "The Chinese economy is declining daily, and these consumer stimulus packages from the government can only slow the collapse of the domestic economy. They cannot save it. This is because people are facing a wave of unemployment and bankruptcy and no longer have a source of income." People want to improve their spending power rather than increase consumption. Wu Seqi, director of the Taiwan think tank Center for Chinese Studies in Taipei, stated that Shanghai's issuance of discount-type consumer coupons aims to boost the economy in specific areas through targeted consumption, but the benefits may be extremely limited. The vouchers adopt a first-come, first-served model rather than a universal issuance, locking in those with spending power to achieve immediate digital performance, which aligns with the short-term operational inertia of the CCP's rule. However, setting a consumption threshold may lead to low public acceptance. Furthermore, he said Shanghai's consumption is anchored in the life and entertainment industry. The intended model is people consume first, stores offer discounts, and then vouchers are used to receive government subsidies. However, unscrupulous stores might increase prices before offering discounts to maintain higher profits. If such situations arise, consumers will be disadvantaged and won't enjoy any real benefits. Whether stores that offer discounts will ultimately receive government subsidies is also uncertain. Wu Seji told VOA, "Chinese people do not want to increase consumption now. They want to improve their consumption capacity. This is a completely different concept. This consumption voucher policy may be like a stone thrown into water, having no effect. China's current structural problems are very serious, and consumption cannot be resolved merely by consumption." Wu Seji remarked that Shanghai, as a leading international city with many leading industries, relying on consumption vouchers to stimulate the economy, indicates that its status as China's economic leader has been shaken, suggesting that the economies of other Chinese cities may be worse.
"I'm falling apart. I've spent 4 years in college, just stepped into society, and for the first time, I'm falling apart. I work 8.5 hours a day and managed to sell only one pair of shoes during that time. Yesterday and today, in 8.5 hours, I sold 3 pairs of shoes. What's the point? It's exhausting and disheartening. It feels like my heart is bleeding. When will this business recover? It seems hopeless." A large number of migrant workers are preferring to return to their hometowns in search of employment, causing a mass exodus from major Chinese cities. Shanghai and Beijing have seen this same occurrence, where a large number of migrant workers have taken to social media to vent their feelings, bidding farewell to Beijing and stating they will not be returning. This feeling is reinforced by the large number of people leaving Beijing, even 3 months early. The cause is the high rate of recent job losses among middle-aged white-collar workers in Beijing, brought on by adverse economic conditions and corporate layoffs. Shanghai's Hongqiao railway station is crowded with people, while the factories are silent since foreign capital has left Shanghai, forcing factory closures and higher unemployment rates. "I'm falling apart. I've spent 4 years in college, just stepped into society, and for the first time, I'm falling apart. Unemployment, searching for jobs everywhere, unable to find housing. The job search is futile, and I still have to look for a place to live when the deadline approaches. In this continuously challenging situation, I suddenly caught a cold and fever, forcing me to cancel job interviews. When I first entered the workforce, I felt that I quickly found a suitable job within 3 days and also secured a suitable place to live near my workplace. Everything seemed smooth and I could handle work and housing easily on my own. However, reality hit me hard. The working hours got longer, starting from overtime until a little after 8 p.m. and gradually extending to after 10 p.m. Despite living nearby and the other team member leaving long ago, the team leader still wouldn't let me leave early. Which industries are facing the most difficulties in 2023? Firstly, it's the restaurant industry. It's been heard that from January to October this year, the nationwide newly registered restaurants reached as high as 3.5 million, but simultaneously, the closed restaurants astonishingly amounted to 1 million. Even 35,000 coffee shops had to shut down. It seems that the pressure on these establishments is too much, leading to widespread closures. Interestingly, this situation has given rise to a large number of people specializing in purchasing second-hand equipment from these closed restaurants, making substantial profits. Secondly, the automotive industry is also in a tough spot. Business at 4S dealerships is exceptionally challenging this year, with a massive wave of price cuts in the automotive market, appearing to be the most exaggerated in history. However, the behind-the-scenes news is not promising. Many auto companies are going bankrupt, with at least over 1,000 4S dealerships currently in jeopardy. The third industry facing difficulties is the beauty industry. For instance, Watson's closed 343 stores last year, and Beauty Season reduced its store count from over 300 to just over 100. The fourth affected industry is pig farming. Pork prices have dropped by over 40%, leading to a severe blow to the pig breeding industry. The market value of Muiyuan Company has evaporated by over 200 billion, and New Hope Group incurred a net loss of 8.75 billion in the third quarter, having a huge impact on pig farmers. The fifth industry is well known to everyone, the real estate market. No need to say more, as everyone is well aware of the situation. The sixth affected industry is stock trading, a field with extremely high risks. People who do not understand it should avoid the stock market. Even Warren Buffett lost over 100 billion. The last industry may surprise you. Recently, many celebrities have withdrawn from live streaming sales. Apart from some top anchors continuing to earn big money, the days are tough for channels. For example, a clothing store owner in Hangzhou achieved sales of 30 million, but eventually went bankrupt. A women's clothing store owner in Guangzhou set several small goals but ended up losing millions. Many live streaming sales are operating at a loss, and the success rate in this field is only just above 1% this year. The Great Depression is becoming increasingly severe, affecting not only rural areas but also urban towns and cities. For instance, in my shop, I sold 1 pair of shoes yesterday and 3 pairs today, making a total of 4 pairs in 2 days. How can I endure and sustain this business? Yesterday's turnover was only a few tens of dollars, and today it's just over 100. It's too tough and bleak. The business is really bad. In the comments section, a fellow business owner shared that they made 90 yuan the day before and 50 yuan yesterday. Being in the northern region, the situation worsened with snowfall, which meant fewer people on the streets and several days without business. Business is tough everywhere, and in China, whether in the north, south, east, west, or any region, it's the same. I work 8.5 hours a day and manage to sell only 1 pair of shoes during that time. Yesterday and today, in 8.5 hours, I sold 3 pairs of shoes. What's the point? It's exhausting and disheartening. It feels like my heart is bleeding. When will this business recover? It seems hopeless. Perhaps by next year, more and more physical stores will close. If things do get better, it will be extremely challenging. The main factors are the impact of online shopping on physical stores and the difficulty of earning money this year. People's pockets are empty, everyone is struggling, and at home, we wear and use whatever clothes and shoes we already have because earning money is so difficult. So, physical stores will only become scarcer. The job prospects for Chinese youth seem extremely bleak, as the widespread economic downturn further worsens the prospects of the mainland's real economy, casting a shadow over the future of many young people, The real economy in mainland China is in a state of depression, which means finding a stable and promising job is becoming increasingly difficult for the younger generation. Faced with the current job market, young people seem to be confronted with increasingly severe challenges, with the decline of the manufacturing industry being a significant concern. Once one of the engines driving China's economic growth, the manufacturing industry is now facing difficulties due to the economic downturn at home and abroad, as well as changes in the global supply chain. Many aspiring young people find themselves caught in the double bind of job hunting, becoming difficult and the risk of unemployment looming. Meanwhile, the service industry has also failed to provide enough opportunities for young people. As economic uncertainty increases, many companies are cutting costs, leading to a sharp decrease in demand for employment in the service sector. Young people find during their job search that the once seemingly thriving service industry is now in the midst of uncertainty and turmoil. The reduction of job opportunities intensifies the competition in the job market. In addition, the financial sector cannot serve as a safe haven for young people. The financial industry, once highly anticipated, is also deeply affected by the economic downturn, causing financial institutions to contract, and a wave of downsizing is continually emerging. For those young people who have just entered the workforce, the turmoil in the financial industry makes them feel that their employment prospects are bleak and the future is filled with uncertainty. It is worth noting that, although some emerging industries have risen in recent years, their development speed and scale are still difficult to compensate for the vacancies left by traditional industries, and they cannot provide enough employment opportunities for a large number of young people. Overall, the current economic situation in mainland China has severely impacted the job prospects of the younger generation. The decline of the manufacturing and service industries, downsizing in the financial sector, and the survival pressure on physical stores all contribute to the great difficulty young people face in their career development. All of this makes the younger generation feel the uncertainty and pressure in their lives and careers, bringing them more challenges. However, it has not been able to provide a sufficient number of job opportunities for a large number of young people in a short period. The field of technological innovation requires highly qualified talents, but in reality, the educational background and skills of many young people are not sufficient to meet this demand. Therefore, emerging industries are more of a daunting presence than a real way out for the vast majority of young people. In addition to industry-level problems, social structures and institutional obstacles are like a tall wall that blocks young people's employment opportunities tightly. First, the household registration system is like a big lock, trapping young people in their hometowns. Wanting to find a job elsewhere has become an unrealistic dream. It's not just job hunting, but almost like solving an escape room puzzle. Moreover, even if young people boldly seek employment across regions, employers come up with the stunt of significantly increasing experience requirements, as if finding a job is a treasure hunt game that requires experiencing numerous workplace storms to qualify for entry. Where do freshly graduated individuals get so much experience? Writing "rich in experience" on a resume is practically creating a story. The job market is so ruthless, making people feel like they are being played as clowns by society. Therefore, social and systemic problems pile up like mountains, making the journey of Chinese young people in employment increasingly difficult. This is not just about finding a job. It's like climbing over mountain ranges more challenging than Mount Everest. Young people struggle in this quagmire, not because they don't work hard, but because the entire social system is a mischievous machine, continuously setting traps for young people, making them fall with broken heads and bleeding. With the depression of the job market, a series of social problems follow suit. The rising unemployment rate leads to an increase in social burdens, putting greater pressure on the government for social assistance. Moreover, unemployed young people may fall into psychological distress, affecting social stability. Overall, the employment situation of Chinese youth has become a serious challenge facing the country. Looking at it comprehensively, the plight of Chinese youth employment is far from an isolated case, but a systemic problem. The downturn in the real economy, the existence of institutional barriers, the inadequacy of emerging industries, and the limitations of social structures all make young people face extremely difficult situations in the job search process. Besides, recently, the financial performance of mainland China's banks has sharply declined, triggering public skepticism and dissatisfaction with the financial system. It has been reported that the deposits of many deceased individuals were unexpectedly confiscated by banks, leading to strong discontent among the families of the deceased and causing a severe blow to public trust in the bank management. According to reports, many banks in mainland China have implemented strict withdrawal restrictions, significantly impacting the flow of funds for users. Some banks have even limited users' maximum withdrawal amount to 50,000 yuan, while smaller banks have reduced the withdrawal limit to 30,000 yuan. This has led to a rapid decline in the public's trust in banks in a short period. Informed sources revealed that many banks' funds are facing an unprecedented crisis, and the destination of these funds is puzzling. The public generally speculates that the disappearance of these large sums of money may be due to officials misappropriating them for personal gain. This speculation has raised doubts about the transparency of the financial system. The act of banks confiscating deposits from deceased individuals has sparked widespread discontent in society. Many family members express that their hardworking relatives who accumulated wealth throughout their lives had their assets unjustly seized by the banks after their death. This has led to questioning the fairness of the banks because family members state that the hard-earned money of their loved ones has been unjustly confiscated by the banks, which is a great injustice to Chinese people. In addition, the withdrawal restrictions have become a focal point of public attention. Some extreme measures taken by banks have aroused anger and helplessness among the people. A restricted user expressed, "I need a significant amount of funds, but the bank told me I can only withdraw 50,000 yuan. How is that enough? Doesn't the bank know that we need money urgently?" Concerns about the opacity of fund flows in banks have led to widespread questioning across society. Informed sources revealed that some banks' funds have encountered inexplicable discrepancies, and the bank management has failed to provide a reasonable explanation, intensifying public doubts about the competence of bank management. A citizen stated, "We entrusted our money to the bank for safekeeping, hoping for peace of mind. Now, it has turned into an opaque financial game. Where do our rights and interests go?" Overall, the severe issues in mainland China's banking industry have triggered widespread social attention and concern. Public trust in the bank management has sharply declined, and people are beginning to question the fairness and transparency of the financial system. The outbreak of these issues not only plunges China's financial system into a serious crisis, but also fills the general public with uncertainty about the future of finance. At this critical moment, the government and financial regulatory agencies urgently need to take effective measures to restore public confidence in the financial system, ensuring its stability and healthy development. Moving on, Economic Insights will share my thoughts on today's events. The current liquidity issues in China's banking industry have become a focus of attention, not by chance, but due to serious internal problems within the Chinese banking sector, abuse of power, corruption, and a weak rule of law. This forms a vicious cycle, pushing many Chinese banks to the brink of liquidity. Firstly, there is a serious issue of power abuse in China's banking industry. Banks play a crucial role in the financial sector, but some banks abuse their position in the financial system by concentrating power in the hands of individuals. This not only deprives financial institutions of fairness in operation, but also results in the unreasonable allocation of bank resources. Power abuse is not only harmful to internal bank personnel, but also toxic to the entire financial system. Secondly, corruption is a widespread problem in China's banking industry. As important allocators of societal resources, the fairness and transparency of financial institutions are crucial. However, The rampant spread of corruption has made the internal operations of banks uncertain and unjust. Some high-ranking officials in banks, driven by personal gain, resort to illegal means to reap huge profits. This hinders the healthy development of the entire banking industry. Meanwhile, in China's weak legal environment, the banking sector seems like an unregulated territory. The lack of regulations and supervision allows top-level bank executives to indulge in the pleasure of violating laws and regulations without any consequences. Just like a feast where anyone can be slaughtered, they can act recklessly without worrying about severe legal consequences. The weakness of the legal system actually creates a breeding ground for the liquidity crisis in banks. Due to insufficient institutional safeguards and regulatory measures, internal problems within banks can thrive in the dark. Similar to weeds spreading in ruins, the illegal activities of high-ranking officials repeatedly succeed, as if becoming a regular rhythm. Meanwhile, the stability and sustainable development of the financial system suffer severe damage in this reckless environment. In this weak legal environment within the banking industry, unscrupulous individuals act as if they have obtained a license to commit crimes, taking advantage of the lack of regulation. They ignore laws and regulations, treating financial institutions as personal money trees. In such a scenario, the stability of the financial system is like a crumbling city wall on the verge of collapse. The weak rule of law ensures a dark era for the financial sector. This shadow makes it difficult to hope for any dawn. The intertwining situation of power abuse, corruption, and weak rule of law has led China's banks into an unprecedented liquidity crisis. Banks should have been stabilizers of the economy. However, due to the proliferation and spread of internal issues, they have become variables in the economy. This not only threatens the safety of the financial system, but also brings great uncertainty to numerous investors and depositors. To address the liquidity crisis in China's banking industry, it is essential to first strengthen regulatory efforts, break down power consolidation within some banks, and ensure the fair distribution of financial resources. Additionally, a zero-tolerance attitude towards corruption must be adopted, and a robust supervisory mechanism should be established.
This was the scene when I went to the supermarket around 9 o'clock in Hong Kong. There's no rice, no flour, nothing. It seems like there's not much left. What happened to the street? This used to be very busy, now look at it. This supermarket in Hong Kong is empty like they are in a war zone. The economic downturn in Hong Kong has been precipitated by several critical factors, with the enactment of the national security law at the forefront, creating a domino effect on the city's economic vitality and global image. This law has induced a palpable sense of apprehension among international investors and local businesses concerned about the erosion of Hong Kong's autonomy and its world-renowned legal and business framework. Adding to these woes, Hong Kong's stringent pandemic measures, among the world's strictest, have significantly isolated the city from both international visitors and its biggest source of tourists, mainland China. The impact is stark. Prior to the pandemic, in 2018, Hong Kong hosted an average of 5.4 million visitors a month, a figure that dwindled dramatically in the ensuing years. The West Kowloon shopping mall was almost deserted at 9 p.m., and many shops were forced to close. Thousands of shops closed. Hong Kong has fallen so deep. There is no nightlife in Hong Kong, and it has become very deserted now. It is still early in the evening, and only convenience stores are open on the street. The cessation of this vital stream of tourists has had a cascade effect on the retail, hospitality, and service sectors, pivotal components of Hong Kong's consumer economy. In stark contrast to earlier years when these sectors thrived on high-spending tourists, recent times have seen a shift toward a more budget-conscious visitor demographic. The loss in consumer traffic and spending is palpable, with Hong Kong's GDP growth decelerating to 3.2% in 2023 from previous years, highlighting the stark economic challenges the city faces. According to recent data from the Hong Kong Tourism Development Bureau, from January to November 2023, only 30.07 million visitors came to Hong Kong, significantly lower than the 52 million visitors in the same period in 2019 before the mask-related events occurred. This represents less than 60% of the tourist numbers from the same period in 2019. There are three evident reasons contributing to this decline in Hong Kong's appeal. Firstly, Hong Kong's role as a gateway to the world for China has diminished. Hong Kong was once a city where East and West cultures converged, providing a unique blend of Western cultural heritage and inclusiveness. However, the intensification of competition and conflicts between China and the United States has impacted Hong Kong's status as a window for international exchange. Secondly, the allure of duty-free goods in Hong Kong has decreased. Hong Kong, as a free port, used to offer tax-free imports and a variety of international brands at lower prices compared to the mainland. However, with the further opening up of mainland China and the establishment of free trade zones, individuals can now purchase duty-free goods locally, reducing the cost advantage of Hong Kong. Thirdly, the high cost of consumption in Hong Kong is undeniable. Expenses such as hotel accommodations in Hong Kong have risen, surpassing the average levels of 2018. This means that the cost of consumption during economic downturns is now higher than during economic prosperity, which has led to reluctance among Chinese tourists to stay in Hong Kong even for evening shopping. Without many tourists, Hong Kong's airports look deserted. Mainland China suffered the same fate. This airport looks like it has no one. The ramifications of these overarching issues on local businesses have been profound. Operational costs have surged as revenues plummet, a situation captured by the phenomenon of the two-dish rice, symbolizing the declining purchasing power and consumer confidence. The shift towards more budget-conscious consumer behavior has forced businesses, previously catering to luxury markets, to realign their offerings to meet a more price-sensitive demand. This economic downturn was further exacerbated by the allure of cheaper alternatives in neighboring regions, like Shenzhen, which led to a significant outflow of consumer spending from Hong Kong, intensifying the struggles of local businesses. The retail and food and beverage sectors, heavily reliant on tourist and local consumer spending, have been particularly hard hit. Retail sales in Hong Kong, for instance, saw a year-on-year increase of 15.9% in November 2023, but this is off a low base and followed years of decline during the pandemic. Moreover, Hong Kong's economy is forecasted to face further challenges, with GDP growth expected to slow to 2.7% in 2024, reflecting ongoing economic headwinds including high interest rates, geopolitical tensions, and a sluggish property market. Over 60% of companies surveyed by the Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce expect no income growth in 2024, evidencing the mass escape among the business community. Recently, major companies such as Samsung, Apple, and Mitsubishi Toyota have been gradually relocating from China, especially in Hong Kong, shifting their production bases to Southeast Asia and the Indian market. How substantial is this exodus? According to data, in 2021, foreign investment surpassed our net investment by an astonishing $170 billion. Unexpectedly, the situation took a drastic turn in 2022, with foreign capital consistently withdrawing $160 billion for 6 consecutive quarters until the end of September this year. Such a massive capital outflow is quite rare in history and has led to a negative foreign direct investment figure for the first time since the beginning of economic reforms and opening up. As we know, investment, consumption, and exports are the three driving forces behind GDP growth. Foreign invested enterprises contribute nearly half of the total export value, with some regions like Zhengzhou and Hunan accounting for over 60%. These contributions are factored into our GDP, contribute taxes, and aid in earning foreign exchange. Every year, they generate an impressive $1.3 trillion in foreign exchange, constituting one-third of our national foreign exchange reserves. It's crucial to note that imports such as petroleum, food, and chips require payment in US dollars. One might wonder if foreign companies are not making money off us. The reality is, even if they make significant profits, a substantial portion is taken back, leaving a smaller share for us. For instance, Apple, for every $100 billion it generates, takes away $70 billion, leaving only $30 billion. In the absence of these foreign enterprises, we wouldn't get anything. Importantly, when foreign companies leave, it impacts not only them but also a vast network of associated upstream and downstream enterprises, potentially dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of businesses. Once foreign companies depart, these affiliated enterprises lose orders, face bankruptcy, and may lead to mass layoffs. Where will these employees find new jobs? Mass exodus and free press plummet, signaling an existential threat to the city's future. The demographic landscape of Hong Kong is undergoing a significant transformation as a notable segment of its population opts for migration, signaling a profound discontent with the city's socio-political and economic outlook. This exodus, described as the most extensive in recent history, is reshaping the very essence of Hong Kong's society. According to a report by the Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute, as cited by various sources in 2022, more than 40% of the population expressed desires to emigrate, with countries like the UK, Canada, and Australia being top preferences. This mass migration trend reflects deep-seated anxieties over diminishing freedoms and a perceived erosion of autonomy from Beijing's tightening grip. Economically, the outflow poses a potential crisis, risking a brain drain that could deplete the city of its skilled workforce. The social fabric of Hong Kong is equally at risk, with traditional support networks and community bonds threatened by the growing diaspora. Press freedom and political repression, the diminishing right to information. In a parallel decline, Hong Kong's once-cherished press freedom has plummeted, moving from the 80th position in the 2021 World Press Freedom Index to a stark 140th in 2023, according to Reporters Without Borders. This nosedive in press freedom rankings underscores the territory's struggle under the weight of the national security law, which since its implementation in 2020 has led to the arrest of numerous journalists and the shuttering of several prominent media outlets. For instance, the closure of Apple Daily, a leading pro-democracy newspaper, and the arrest of its founder, Jimmy Lai, symbolize the formidable pressures facing the free press. The government's aggressive posture towards dissent and information control not only stifles journalistic freedom but also encroaches upon the public's right to access unbiased and comprehensive news. This constriction of the information landscape is more than an affront to media, it's a blow to the democratic ethos of Hong Kong, affecting its international image and standing as a bastion of freedom in Asia. The confluence of a significant exodus and the marked decline in press freedom signifies a pivotal juncture for Hong Kong, pointing towards a profound identity and cultural shift. These trends not only bear immediate repercussions on the city's economic vibrancy and social cohesion but also pose fundamental questions about its future. With a substantial portion of the populace seeking lives beyond its shores and the press under unprecedented duress, Hong Kong's global stature as a free, dynamic metropolis is under scrutiny. The evolving narrative of Hong Kong, amid these challenges, remains uncertain. Whether these transformations signal a transient phase or a definitive reorientation of its trajectory will depend on how the city navigates these pressing issues in the years to come. Hong Kong property meltdown, dwindling values, and stock market plunge spell economic crisis. The real estate industry in Hong Kong has historically been a bedrock of the city's economy, contributing significantly to its international stature as a financial center. However, recent developments have seen this once thriving market face unprecedented challenges. Key among the factors influencing this downturn has been the enactment of the National Security Law in 2020, compounding 3 years of strict pandemic control measures, which collectively have altered the economic and social landscape of Hong Kong. The decline in property values has been mirrored in the performance of the stock market, signifying a loss of confidence among investors in Hong Kong's economic resilience. Amidst a continuous decline in both the property and stock markets, reports as of January 2024 painted a gloomy picture. Property, once considered a safe and lucrative investment in Hong Kong, has seen depreciating values, challenging the city's status as a prime real estate hub. Adding shock to this scenario is the reported slump in home prices to the lowest in 7 years as indicated by government data. With little relief in sight for 2024, forecasts suggest that home prices might dip further by 3 to 5% in the first half of the year before stabilizing somewhat in the latter half. This downturn is correlated with broader economic indicators, including a reduction in retail and dining business operations and a decrease in international tourism and local spending. Furthermore, the Hang Seng Property Index plunged 30 Pekin in 2023, reflecting a stark 60 Pekin drop from its peak in April 2019, underlining the diminishing investor confidence and economic strain faced by Hong Kong. The implications of declining property values extend beyond investors and homeowners, affecting the broader economy of Hong Kong. Real estate is intertwined with various economic segments, including construction, finance, and retail. As property values plummet, the knock-on effects could lead to reduced consumer spending, a dip in construction activities, and a cautious approach from foreign investors contemplating their stance in Hong Kong. The outlook for 2024 does not bode well for recovery. Industry experts anticipate further challenges as higher interest rates persist and economic growth lags. For instance, luxury residential markets are expected to see falls of 15 Pekin to 20 Pekin in values, including townhouses, as higher mortgage costs and fewer mainland buyers continue to impact the market. The commercial sector, particularly the office and retail spaces, anticipates a moderate growth driven by specific demands but overall remains in the shadow of uncertainty. Hong Kong's property market is enduring a challenging phase, reflective of broader economic setbacks. As the city navigates through these tumultuous times, the resilience of its real estate sector, once the envy of many, is put to the test, setting the scene for potentially transformative shifts in one of the world's most dynamic urban landscapes. The recovery path seems arduous and contingent on a myriad of economic, social, and political stabilizations, aiming to recapture the confidence of both local and international stakeholders in Hong Kong's property market.